Okay, is it working? Let me try this. Okay. No, offline. Oh, okay. Oh. I'm not sure if it's... Okay. So YouTube says I'm streaming. Oh, okay. I'm up on YouTube. I see it now. But it's completely frozen for me. Oh, it's just behind. Okay. Okay. Twitch still has nothing on though. Let's see, restream dashboard. So I guess just bear with me here. It's the it's my first stream. Okay, restream says I have something. Oh my gosh, this lag is gonna do it. Okay, and Twitch is good. We're all good. Awesome. 1080p. Okay, restream says I have something. Oh my gosh, this lag is gonna do it. Okay, and Twitch is good. We're all good. Awesome. 1080p. Okay, I'm gonna mute everything. Okay. OBS. Okay, so now we can actually start. So, welcome guys to my first live stream. Today, as you can probably tell by the title, we're going to do predictions for Computex 2017. So I'm going to talk about some of the different rumors that have been going on. And then later on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I'm going to try to stream again. And hopefully with someone else, Stuart, who you guys might remember from the CES coverage. He did most of the coverage for that. I tried getting him on today, but he's not replying to his phone for some reason. So I guess I'm just going to start alone. So I'm going to try again later with him, and then we can talk about what was actually announced. And actually, I got a text from studio right now. Okay, I'm just going to assume he's not coming on. He says he's at KD or something. So, yeah. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'm going to try to do another live stream. Just confirm or deny what I'm talking about here. So I guess let's get started. The first thing I want to talk about here, if I can share my screen. Yes, here we go. Is Threadripper. So AMD has already announced that they are going to have Threadripper. This is their new high-end desktop chips. So just to clear out, Intel has mainstream and enthusiast platforms. So mainstream would be currently Z270, which goes up to 4 cores with the 7700K. And then their enthusiast is X99, going up to the 6950X. So the real difference here is the enthusiast platform can handle like higher cores, higher TDP, but most importantly, it has quad-channel memory and more PCIe lanes. So consumers don't really need more than 24 PCIe lanes because the most they're really going to put is 2 graphics cards or a graphics card and a capture card, but really 2, maybe 3 PCIe devices. So that's fine, 24. And then dual-channel memory is, again, just perfectly fine enough for anything mainstream users are going to use. Enthusiast users, workstation users, they would benefit more from quad-channel memory because that lets them have more memory. It lets them have faster memory. You know, it's quad-channel memory. It's got the same advantages as dual-channel, just less. The gap between single and dual-channel is less than dual to quad-channel, but there is still an advantage. But then the most important thing, in my opinion, on a high-end desktop platform would be the PCIe lanes, because these kinds of users can put like 8 graphics cards or like a bunch of PCIe SSDs or like different capture cards and stuff. Yes, he's not kidding. Oh. Okay. They need more PCIe lanes. So that's where the AMD's Ryzen approach has been a little bit confusing me previously, because the AM4 platform, so up to X370, that's what I have actually running this machine, streaming off my 1700X. It's a mainstream platform from a platform perspective. You know, dual channel memory, 26 I think PCIe lanes. Yeah, it's just a mainstream platform, but it goes up to 8 cores, and that's where AMD was really selling the advantage. You can have a mainstream platform with up to 8 cores. They're saying like bringing 8 cores to the mainstream, and so that was their big marketing thing. Because I'm gonna say that the vast majority of people who are not going with like server parts don't really need all the advantages of a high-end desktop platform. It's a very niche market. So AMD was saying, okay, well, there are many people who need the performance of, say, an 8-core, but they don't really need 40 PCIe lanes. For example, me. I benefit greatly from my 8-core, my Ryzen 8-core. When I'm doing my video editing, I mean, 4K, 100 megabits per second, just straight off my camera. It's been amazing. Back with my 8370, I had to transcode it down to lower bit rate, and then I worked, and it still took like an hour to export. Now just straight off the camera, 10-20 minute export. It's very fast, great. But I don't really need 40 PCIe lanes. Like I might have a graphics card, a PCIe SSD, and a capture card, and that's it. And it's that'll easily fit within the 24 PCIe lanes. I mean, like 4 for the card and the SSD. That's 8, 16. Yeah, 24 PCIe lanes right there, easy as pie. So, but then again, yeah, there are some people who do need more. So AMD is now saying that, hey, we're going to have a high-end desktop platform, and it's going to have up to 16 cores. So now, previously what they've done, up to the 8 cores at least, they've been about on par, maybe a little bit behind-ish, but pretty close to Intel's counterparts. So they're not really the performance king, but they're close enough that there's no discernible difference, especially when you consider that Intel is like double the price for the same part. AMD is the clear winner. Here, they're saying they're going to take the performance crown, period. 16 cores. The most Intel is going to have, most likely, and we're going to talk about this later in the show, is 12 cores for Intel. 16 cores for AMD. So this is like two 1800Xs. Can you imagine that? Two 1800Xs on one chip with 40 PCIe lanes and quad-channel memory. That's going to be a beast. So let's talk a bit about like the models and stuff. And this is where I'm going to get a little confused. Oh, and by the way, I wrote an article about this. You guys can see. Here, see AMD Threadripper on my website, solidstateblog.com, where I talked a little bit about it and talked a bit about why I was confused. So let's just look at the models we have all on this supposedly X399. I find that unlikely, so that's actually the first thing I want to mention. I think that they should go with X390, because that would fit more with what they've had so far. I mean, they have A320, B350, X370, and X390. Although, you know, the positioning of the X, that's a little weird. But, I mean, unless they're going to go with Z390 for enthusiasts, which, whatever. X390 is what I think they should do. X399, there's going to be problems, especially when Intel releases their next gen, because, I mean, we're going to talk about this later, but they're supposedly going to, here at Computex, release X299, so X390, that'd be a problem, so I think AMD should stick to X390 for continuity purposes, and then, of course, there's going to have a different socket altogether. We're expecting the server socket, like SPR2, whatever, it's a weird name. It's not going to be AM4, here, SP3. I'm weird, I thought I had a slightly longer name. But anyways, SP3 socket. The X390 chipset, so this high-end desktop, is probably only going to have single socket, but it's going to be the same socket as the server parts. So who knows if they'll be intercompatible. We'll have to see soon. But the lineup goes from the Ryzen 9, which that part makes sense to me, Ryzen 9, okay? 1955 up to the 1998X. So this naming scheme is where it gets confusing. And what I'm thinking, my bet here is that AMD is listening to the rumors, and that's how they're cutting costs. They don't really have to deal with a big marketing team because they'll just see what the rumors are. That's what they're going to name it. I mean, the rumors were like exactly on point for Ryzen previously. So, yeah, I mean, Obviously, it's most likely not the case. I'm joking, but you know, there's a little bit of me that thinks that might be the case. This is just so awkward. They went up to the 1800X on the desktop platform, on the mainstream platform. Sorry. So really, they have those double digits to work with, but the way they've set it up, they're not using the double digits, except maybe a refresh by the end of the year, maybe something early next year. Who knows? Like, hey, next year we're probably not going to get Zen 2, because 7 nanometer is going to take a little while. So who knows if that'll be 2000 or if that'll just be the 2 number increments. But anyways, they set it up with the first number is first gen. The second number is just the number of the model, and the last 2 numbers are saved for later. This is saying that they all have to be 1900, and then that forces AMD to use those second 2 numbers. So either AMD is going to go with a completely different naming scheme, and essentially just flip off every single consumer, and just say, no, screw you, we're going to confuse you, or they're going with this, and it's just going to be super weird, because it's going to be hard to remember. I mean, 1956, the 1976X, what is this? This is the part that, for the longest time, we've had rumors about this Whitehaven platform, but I've never really believed it, personally. Because it was just awkwardly placed, the way they've set up this whole platform. I mean, I was thinking maybe when they get to second gen, then they might have a high-end desktop platform. But now they're saying, no, it's going to be here. And it's just awkward placement. Which is another one of those reasons why it's possible that they're just going with whatever the rumors are and going with that. Or these ones are completely wrong. But seeing the accuracy of the previous Ryzen leaks, I'm going to say that these are probably pretty accurate. So the 1995, let's just go through these, will be a 10-core model. So this is saying that they're going to start at 10 cores. I think they should start at like 6 or 8 cores, personally, because I realize they want to just have a gap. But some people prefer having more of the PCIe lanes, and they want to spend their money on a motherboard that supports all these PCIe lanes, but they don't really need a 10-core processor, which is most likely going to cost in the 600s. I'll talk about my predictions for pricing in just a bit. It's just... if they start at a quad core, then they could satisfy people who don't really need much CPU power, and they more need the other advantages of a high-end desktop platform. But anyways, let's just go. And I mean, actually, yeah, they could put quad 6 and 8 cores in the 1800 series, so 1863X could be a 6-core for all I know. Pricing, I think if they make quad through 6 through 8 core 4 through 8 core parts, should be, I'd say, within $100 of their AM4 counterparts, because obviously it's gonna be more expensive. I mean, it's a bigger chip. If it's on a high-end platform, it's gonna be more expensive. But I don't think we should have like a quad core for $500, even if it's high-end desktop. That's just stupid. But it's obviously gonna be a little more expensive. So, anyways, let's just focus on the rumors here from WCCF Tech. 1955 is going to be 10 cores. Obviously, all of these have hyper-threading. AMD's already said. At least for Ryzen 5 and up is going to be all, simultaneous multi-threading. Ryzen 3, we're not sure. That's another thing that they might announce, but I'm going to talk about that in just a bit. So 10 cores, 20 threads, 3.1 to 3.7 gigahertz. That's easily feasible for AMD for this kind of thing. They've had these kinds of clock differences before. TDP of 125 watts, quad channel, 44. Okay, 44 PCIe lanes, not 40. Okay, but whatever. The point is, it's a lot. The 1955X is just the same 10 cores at 3.6 to 4 gigahertz, and XFR. We don't really know much about XFR on these chips. I'm just gonna go with the assumption that X is gonna be the full 100 megahertz XFR, and then the non-X is going to be just the 50 or whatever. Same thing as with the regular AM4 platform. 1956, this is one of those models that's just really weird. You go from 55 to 56 to 76, 77, 98. I mean, they could maybe spread these out a little more if they're going to do it like this. But anyways, the 56 and 336X are 12-core parts, 3 to 3.7 and 3.2 to 3.8, respectively. And then already 12 cores, that's the max that we're expecting from Intel this year. So here, on par, easy. Then we get into just the Performance King territory, the 1970 series, which is going to have 14 cores. But what's really weird is the 76X is faster than the 77. This 70... I'm thinking this 76X doesn't seem likely, especially with numbers we've gotten from previous tries. I mean, 4.1 gigahertz stock. That means 0 overclocking headroom. 0. Nada. No overclocking, pretty much. I mean, obviously you'll be able to get all 14 cores up to there, but still, that's... Oof. That's not... This 76X, I don't believe it. The rest, I think I believe. But this one, I don't believe, because it's just so awkwardly placed, and it's just based on what we've seen so far in terms of performance and clock speeds, it doesn't seem right. So anyways, the 1977 and 1977X, this is more reasonable. I mean, 2 SKUs per core count. That's fair. I mean, that's what they've done with Ryzen 5. Ryzen 7 had 3, but then again, that was kind of their big shot for Ryzen, the 8 cores. But anyways, 2 per core count. 3.2 to 3.7 and 3.5 to 4. This seems more reasonable. Maybe because they have bigger dies, they can spread it out more, and overclocking might be a bit better. Although the same could be said for lower core count Ryzen 5 chips. So I don't know about 4 gigahertz. Maybe 3.8, 3.9 gigahertz would be a little more reasonable for this one. Anyways, then the 16-core behemoths. We're expecting 2 of them, the 1998 and 98X. 3.2 to 3.6 and 3.5 to 3.9 respectively. So yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much here, I was just reading this. Now my actual predictions for the pricing. Ooh, this is tough. We have $500 for an 1800X. So all of these have to be more expensive. So I'm thinking 10 cores are going to be like the 600 range, maybe low 700s. This one's 800s. Low 800s. This one's going to be 800s, 900s, and then I think it's going to top at $999 for the 16-core model. If they can top $999 for the 16-core model, then they will have effectively double the core count for the same price as Intel, because Intel has about $1,000 for their 8 cores on the high-end platform. Here we have $1,000 for 16 cores, so that's what I think they should do. So maybe $600 here, $660, $699. $750. I'm gonna ignore this one because I don't think it's gonna happen. $790, $800, $850, $950, and $1,000, or $900 and then $1,000. I mean, that would keep up the trend of having the last one just be like $100 extra. But yeah, I think these are all gonna range from high 500s, low 600s, all the way up to $1,000. And if they can do that, that would be incredible. I mean, honestly, they'd be Performance King, Price King, Price Performance King. It'd just be, there would be no reason at all to go with Intel. No, honestly. Especially if motherboard makers come out with more MITX builds, because actually I was talking to a friend from work, it was not yesterday, 2 days ago, and he said he wants to build an MITX build to go to college, so that it's, it doesn't take up much space. He currently has an FX. He was wanting to go Ryzen, but there's one MITX board, and he doesn't like it. That BioStar one. So if there's, in the next couple months, if there's no good MITX board from AMD that supports Ryzen, then he's going to jump ship to Intel, which would make me very sad. And AMD very sad. So if ITX boards come out, and this comes out, there's no reason to go with Intel. I mean, you need them PCIe lanes? X390. See? X399, X390. What is it? Nobody knows. But anyways, I'm just going to go with X390. X390, you got your high-end stuff. X370, and the AM4 platform, and then the SP3 platform. You've got all your stuff there. All your bases covered. You've got quad cores up to 16 cores. Yeah. That would be great for AMD. I'm going to switch back to my camera. Ooh. Because yeah, not all of my things I have like articles for. So the next thing I want to talk about, still from AMD, of course, is motherboards. So we've gotten a fair amount of Ryzen motherboards so far, but we're lacking, as I just said, an MITX. So expecting to see more MITX and just more motherboards in general at Computex this year. I think maybe some A320 boards. I don't think I've really seen any, maybe a couple. And when they're A320, it's just a B350 motherboard without overclocking. But otherwise, it's like the same thing with like a $50 difference. But more A320 specific ones, like just the cheapo motherboards, and then some small form factor motherboards. These MATX, Mini ITX, Micro ATX, yes. MATX boards, there have been plenty of those. There have been plenty of ATX, but there haven't been MITX boards, or ITX. Why MITX? There's only one ITX, so why do we have to put Mini ITX? There's just ITX. Anyways, ITX boards. I don't think we're going to see any extended ATX boards, at least not on AM4, because if I'm not mistaken, it's only X99 on Intel that has extended ATX boards anyways, which makes sense to fit in all the extra RAM slots and the bigger chipset and whatnot. So yeah, we'll see, obviously, if Threadripper comes out, we'll see the Threadripper motherboards with the SP3 socket, X390 chipset, presumably. Those are gonna, there's no way are they gonna have, they're gonna have a hard time making an MATX board with that socket. I mean, if it's the same socket as server, have any of you guys seen it? It's like this big, it's huge. I mean, it's quite literally, it's physically the size of two current AM4 chips just put together. I think it's quite exactly that size. It's massive. It's like 4,000 pins, which actually would not be double, because it's 1331 on AM4, I believe. But anyways, it's a massive socket. They're gonna have a hard time with motherboards. I'm excited to see what kind of motherboards we have for X390. That'll be cool. We haven't had no leaks for that. We've had some X299 boards for Intel leaks. I'm gonna talk about those in a second, but we haven't seen any motherboard leaks. But anyways, I'm thinking more motherboards. ITX motherboards are gonna be a bigger deal, and then obviously Threadripper motherboards. So that's the two motherboards we're gonna see on the AMD side. Other things from AMD. APUs, Vega, Ryzen 3, and laptops. Yes, okay. So, Ryzen 3, I think, is not going to, maybe like 2, 3 SKUs again. Small. I don't think they should have a dual core. Now, they might have a dual core with hyperthreading, then quad cores with no hyperthreading. I don't think they should have a dual core at all. It is time for the desktop dual core to die. When you can get a hyperthreaded quad core for like $150-ish, a little more, like $169 actually. There's no reason to have a dual core. You could easily have quad core, no hyperthreading for like $50. What, are you gonna sell a processor for $10? I'm pretty sure AMD cannot get their margins like that low. So I don't think there's gonna be any dual cores. I hope not. But I also hope they do release it now, because this is Ryzen 3 is, no one really cares about it anymore. It's not really a thing. But hopefully it still becomes a thing, because still, like, that $400 PC market, people are still going like Pentiums or Celerons, or i3s. AMD could easily just fit in that gap with some quad cores, i5 competitors, easy. So yeah, APUs, I think, are also going to be announced, but not quite released yet. I originally thought that APUs would come out on desktop first and then on mobile, but from what we're hearing on AMD, it'll be at the same time. I mean, there's no point in having mobile first, but they might. I don't know. There might be some exclusivity contracts. We still technically don't have Bristol Ridge Desktop. As far as I'm aware, I think maybe HP has one, but we can't actually buy one. So all the motherboards are like, yes, it's 7th gen Bristol Ridge compatible. I don't see it. I don't see any chips. But anyways, APUs might go up to 6 cores. So again, this is not based on any rumors. This is just pure speculation from my part alone. APUs having quad cores for sure, and then maybe a 6-core APU. I think that'd be really cool. And then Vega graphics. So it's possible, I mean, I talked to the guy at AMD over at CES in their suite. It's possible that we have a VR-capable APU. So integrated graphics that are VR-capable. That would be amazing. But the most exciting thing, I think, on the APU side from AMD is laptops. So Ryzen Mobile, we're expecting to see some more of that here at Computex, and then by the end of the summer, so the end of July, I think, we're going to see some actual laptops. So Asus has already teased a laptop. They have had an ROG laptop silhouette in front of the Ryzen logo saying, like, something is coming or whatever. So Ryzen laptops, but then another one that I want to talk about from HP. They haven't technically said Ryzen, but from certain things I'm going to talk about, I think it's Ryzen. But first, I'm going to talk about just laptops in general. This is going to go up to quad cores again. I don't think we're going to have any VR-capable APUs in laptops, but we could see more crossfire stuff. So with Bristol Ridge, at least, and I actually have the laptop right over there. It's still a great laptop. We didn't get any crossfires. We didn't get any dedicated shift. What you got in the APU was the best you got. And that's it. It was like, I don't know, they had like a 950M performance-ish, I want to say. Not 960M, but not like 940MX type of stuff. That's just sad. So I think here we're going to finally see, at least in like the ROG ones, slightly thicker, not the super beefy ones, but slightly thicker ones, some crossfire ones with the APU and a dedicated GPU. I don't think we're going to see any higher core count or like CPU-only laptops anytime soon. I think we're just going to get quad-core APUs. And that's it. So really, I'm going to bet on up to close to 1060, so maybe close to VR-capable from a laptop, but not quite. I think where we're really going to get the performance is going to be with the Crossfire and a dedicated GPU. So now, where is it? Here we go. The HP Envy X360, the next generation. So this was the first laptop to have Bristol Ridge. This AMD 7th Gen Bristol Ridge chip, which I actually bought. I mean, it's not exactly this one. This is a new design. But this dark gray black one, very nice looking. That's the laptop I have. You guys can go check out my review of that. It's a great laptop, and this is the new one. They're saying, okay, here's the new design, and here it has a black version. I mean, they've even said, see, AMD, but they say FX. So this is what slightly worries me. It's a smaller laptop. As you can see, the bezels are a lot smaller. It's a smaller physical laptop. I think it's the same thickness, but there's less bezels, so less side space. So what? They could still have Bristol Ridge. The timing of this and then the battery life is what makes me think that this is going to be Ryzen. First of all, I mean, let's just talk about the design. This is a beautiful design. The new HP logo, not the circle one, this IBAR one, looks very nice. I/O is going to be the same, but reorganized. They're finally adding USB 3.1. It's not quite what I'd asked for. I mean, I did make a video about what I would change about this laptop. None of these actually happened. But anyways, it's still a nice-looking laptop. They have USB 3.1, so that actually did happen. Well, I guess SSD and RAM options happened, but that's not confirmed, so I'm not going to talk about that too much. USB 3.1 has been confirmed for the AMD side. So again, that would indicate Ryzen, and then things have been kind of reorganized for no apparent reason. Power button is going to be a lot harder to accidentally push. That's going to be nice. And it's nice. It's got this weird kind of angled thing. Oh, it has Envy on. It says Envy on the hinges. But anyways, yes, they are claiming, yes, 10 hours of battery life. And then this article is saying 10 hours of battery life for the AMD model and 11.5 for the Intel model. Now, how could this be? Well, obviously the Intel model is going to be a dual core, so that's going to consume less power. AMD model is obviously going to be a quad-core APU. That is guaranteed. Okay, I can guarantee you that right now. But I think it's Ryzen because it's physically smaller, So the battery is physically smaller, and the battery life, they were advertising up to 6 hours of battery life. And, you know, I have had times where it has gone up to 6.5 hours. Normal day gets me through 4.5 hours of battery life. With like full brightness, just using like several Chrome tabs and like Office and stuff. 4.5 hours. Here they're saying up to 10 hours of battery life with a smaller physical battery. Ryzen is power efficient enough for that to be possible, for a smaller physical battery to be able to have a better battery life. So that's what I think is going to happen. I think this is going to be Ryzen laptop. And if this is, I might get it. I'm talking to my contact at HP, and I'm seeing what, like, I'm trying to get some information. But yeah, so I think this is going to be a Ryzen laptop, especially, I mean, yes, they're saying FX processor, but they're not saying like 7th gen AMD FX processor. They're not saying Bristol Ridge, or they're not really specifying anything other than just AMD. And the FX part could just be a miscommunication. I mean, apparently at the event where they announced this, they said A9 and A12, which could still be the APU names. But I think this is going to be Ryzen. I mean, look at that. That is a nice laptop. Although still no LED on the numlock key. HP. Whatever. Yeah. I mean, the AMD one still obviously reaches 1080p. Audio's going to be the same. Hopefully we're going to get more RAM and SSD storage with the AMD model, so, you know, maybe if I end up getting it, I'm probably going to get an 8 gigs of RAM version with a 256 gig SSD. That's what I'm looking for, a good balance, so we'll see. But anyway, I think this is going to be a Ryzen laptop just due to the fact that just the timing of it. I mean, especially this is about when they announced the Bristol Ridge laptop. AMD and HP have been getting along great. They've had a lot of exclusive things together. I mean, Bristol Ridge laptops, supposedly also on desktops. It would make sense that this would be a Ryzen laptop, and that would be very, very nice. I mean, it's a nice thin laptop that could pack a nice punch. And then obviously the ROG one would have like a Crossfire with maybe Vega, maybe Polaris. We're not sure. Yeah. Wait, does it come with a pen? That'd be cool if it came with a pen. Probably not. Yeah, so I'm excited. We'll see more about this this week. That's as far as I want to leave on this. So yeah, potential two Ryzen laptops at Computex this week, available by the end of July. So when I get back from China, I can take a look. Next thing, RX Vega. We have some rumors about the different models, so we obviously already have the Frontier Edition, which, I don't know, can we see it anywhere here? There, the Frontier Edition, with this blue shroud, and then there's also a gold shroud one, which has a liquid cooler on it. This is, like, their introduction. This is more a Radeon Pro, Radeon Instinct, whatever you want to call it. They're Quadro Fire Pro equivalent. That's what this is, and it was also kind of just to show off that they have something. This will not be available. This will be available at the same time as Consumer Vega. So, what the current rumors are 3 models for RX Vega. We're here, yes. The Vega Core for $399, the Vega Eclipse for $499, and the Vega Nova for $599. So they've already said it's not going to have any numbers or anything. So the only way to get any difference is these fancy names. And already with Frontier Edition, they've kind of set that up to have fancy names be the naming scheme for RX Vega. So the Core would be positioned, and from leaks, would be about the same performance as a 1070. The Eclipse about the performance as a 1080. And the Nova about the same performance as a 1080 Ti. Potentially even better, because what we've seen from the Frontier Edition and what we've heard from Roger Kaduri, the head of the Radeon group, is that there will be a Vega model that will crush the Titan XP. So it's possible that we got it all wrong. The Core might be between the 1070, 1080, Eclipse between 1080, 1080 Ti, and then the Nova be even better, which is that'd be great, because as it stands currently, with the current assumption, with the core being a 1070 equivalent, that's not, 1070 is the better deal. 1070 you can get from like $315 to $350. Just 330 to 350, I'm gonna say actually. So that's like $50 to $80 cheaper. Yes, I know my math isn't good, but whatever. For about the same thing. The Vega Eclipse, again, similar pricing. It'll be a little less for the 1080. And if this comes out, you can bet that 1070, 1080, 1080 Ti prices are going to drop. So if those stack up evenly-ish with NVIDIA's current 10 series lineup, then the Nova is going to be the only better buy. Otherwise, I would recommend the 10 series. If these are beating those cards, then that changes the story. The core is priced between the 1070 and 1080 when you talk about like actual real-world pricing. So if it performs between there or even closer to the 1080, that would be great for AMD. And then the Nova could just be the most powerful consumer graphics card until Volta. Anyways, so that's all we know. We know it's gonna have HBM2. I mean, some specs have already been said. Are they here? Yeah, HBM2. I mean, up to 4,096 stream processors. So that's what, like 64 compute units. 14 nanometer FinFET. Similar architecture to Polaris in terms of like a construction. It's still JCN, which I think is the graphics core next or whatever. 4.0. Up to 16 gigs of HBM2. Now this is the part I'm worried about. Memory is a big thing they're advertising here. But some rumors are suggesting it's going to be not as good. Because especially for things like content creation and high-resolution gaming, you want more memory. So if they're saying they have like the Nova is probably not going to have 4 gigs of VRAM, but they're saying that the core and the Eclipse might have 4 gigs of VRAM. And seeing as these cards are really going to be advertised 1440p minimum, and that's just for the core. These are going to be 4K cards. 4 gigs of RAM is not going to cut it. Even if it's HBM2, which has lower bandwidth and, if I understand correctly, lower speed than HBM1 or even GDDR5X, that defeats the purpose of having HBM2 or having HBM, high bandwidth memory. It's just, because I mean, yeah, the argument with having less VRAM is that it's faster, but if it's not faster, then there's no point. Because GDDR5X is actually really fast. So these should have, I think, 8 gigs for the core, 8 or 16 options for the Eclipse, and then Nova having only 16. But other things we've heard from AMD are saying that this is going to be a lot less strict from an AMD side, so these could be completely wrong. I mean, the core, that could refer to just the GPU, and then other things like memory speeds, memory capacity could be completely up to the manufacturers. They've said, okay, we're just going to give you the stacks, and then you decide how much to put. So we could see Nova cards with 4 gigs of VRAM. So if you don't really need more VRAM, but you want just faster, I don't know, maybe like 500 hertz 1080p, you can get a Nova with 4 gigs, like $499. I don't know. This just seems weird. It's a little. We're not entirely sure. This is really sketchy rumors. I take these with a grain of salt, guys. But yeah, that's it for AMD, I believe, for Computex. Next, Intel's X299. Ooh. So this would be the successor to X99 and the Broadwell E family, which is about the same performance as current Ryzen 1st Gen. This will either be not too much better or like a lot better, because Skylake does offer pretty significant IPC improvements. I mean, if you look at Intel's trends, it's pretty significant. So if we can get that, and especially with like clock speeds, I mean, here we're saying like all of them stock 4 gigahertz speeds. It's probably going to be similar for this one, maybe like 3.6 minimum, I'd say. For like 4 gigahertz boost, probably. But anyways, I mean, this is definitely going to be like a clock, and IPC is what's going to bring this up above AMD. But the other interesting thing is it's split right here. So these ones are going to be competing with AMD's mainstream platforms, at least from a processor-to-processor standpoint, and these ones still with AMD's high-end platform we've seen, except Intel's now having 14 to 16 cores. Well, to be fair, the benefits going above that, on at least on desktop platform, is minimal. But anyways, so the 4 models we're expecting to see are the 7800X, 6 cores, 3.5 to 4 gigahertz. The 7820X, 3.6 to 4.5, 8 cores, 7900X, 10 cores, 3.3 to 4, and then the 7920X, we're not sure about clock speeds. So the interesting thing is here they're all X's. So previously we've had them all be K's, and then the highest end one, Intel's Extreme Edition, is going to be X. So that's still possible. I mean, these are just rumors. That's possible. But it's just possible that they're all X's to say, because Intel really wants to assert its performance dominance. Which this is definitely, all of these are going to outperform their Ryzen equivalents for sure. It's just, the price difference might make it not worth it. Interesting things to note here also is Core i9, so they may be stepping up in anticipation of Threadripper. And then there's only one 6-core model. So previously we've had 2 6-core models. One of them that is a mainstream CPU with a enthusiast socket, so it had like only 24 PCIe lanes and things like that. And then another more expensive, like $200 extra, 6-core that had the full like 40 PCIe lanes. It looks like that's not the case, and that's good. They should ditch that. It was a stupid idea. It defeats the purpose. Pricing. Ooh, this is a tough position for Intel, because they don't want to just like drop all their prices and have like their 6-core be. I mean, the 6-core was already not that far off. I mean, it's $400, so they could price this one at $300, be pretty close, and then we could consider it. Okay, yeah, they're being competitive. 8 cores, they're gonna drop from $1,000 just to $400, $500. Oof. The 6 core is an easier position because it's less of a drop. 8 cores, they're gonna have to be able to go to $700 at the lowest, and that's still a big gap. I mean, I'm sure it'll be 5 to 10% better than its Ryzen equivalent, but still for $400 plus for $300 to $400, this is a tough position, especially the 10 core going down from 1700. They can argue that's the Extreme Edition. They can bring this down to $1,000, but especially they do want to have a gap between the 8 core. So I'm gonna say $300 here, $700 here, 900, 2,000-ish here, and then 12 core. Knowing them, they're gonna go like close to 2,000 again, even though for potentially rumored possibly $1,000, we have a 16 core from AMD. This pricing is tough. I mean, yeah, they can't afford to keep pricing these higher because AMD is just going to keep digging away at market share with having within 5 to 10% performance for less than half the price. Intel can't do it, but they also they don't want to show that they're intimidated. So they have to, if they're going to drop the prices, they have to make it seem like it's a logical thing. Oh yeah, the 8 cores, they've been at $1,000, we're advancing, we're up to 12 cores, so 8 cores are worth less now. They can argue those things, but they can't drop it in half. So this is going to be really tough for Intel. We'll see how it plans out. But, I mean, I'm Team Red anyway, so. Another thing here is KB Lake X. People are saying that this is going to be on the same platform, the same X299. That might explain why they only have one 6-core model, because there would be these quad-core models that would have, so an i5 and an i7, so an i5 on a high-end platform for the first time ever. I'm not buying it. And also, this i7 7640X, I think this is, I think they made a bit of a mistake. I think this is supposed to be i5. But anyways, so I think these are all going to be... Oh, they're saying this, since they're going up to i9, everything's getting pushed over. I don't think so. But anyways, I think this one's going to be an i5. So these two are the rumored new chips. I don't think they're going to be on the rumored LGA 2066 platform. I think they're still going to be on 1155 mainstream. And here's why. They have dual channel memory support, so already half the RAM slots are just not going to work. Just flat out not going to work. And then all the PCIe lanes, it defeats the purpose. I mean, at least previously with like the, was it like a 5820K or 6800K, it was just less PCIe lanes, but they still had quad channel memory, so you could still use it. Everything on the motherboards was usable, it just, you know, PCIe lanes might get a little short if you have a bunch of devices, so you might have only 2 lanes per device or whatever. That was the downside. I don't think they're going to put quad cores on their high-end platform. That's not going to happen. These are going to be kind of like Devil's Canyon. Like, you know, the 4770K and then 4790K. It's going to be the same platform, but they're going to refresh it. This is a response to Ryzen. And also to some of the problems. So 7700K, for those of you that haven't heard, has overheating issues. It overheats. That's that. Intel says don't overclock it because it'll overheat. So this will fix that. And also it'll be an excuse to push down the prices of the 7700K and the 6700K, which is, they're both about the same. I mean, let's be honest, Skylake, Kaby Lake, there's no reasonable difference. You might as well save the money and go with Skylake. Especially here, they can push the prices down. They can have the 6700K for like $250. That would be more competitive with Ryzen. Obviously, Ryzen would still be the better deal because you can get the same thing for like $50 to $80 less, but it's still offering more of a nudge from Intel, and a lot of diehards are gonna. It's gonna be more reason for them to go Intel. So I think that's what they're doing. I think these two processors, i5 7640X or K. Sorry, I think they're K, not X. Calling them all X is ridiculous. So i5 7640K and the i7 7740K are gonna be still Z270 chips, and that's that. They're going to be refreshes to the 600K and 7700K. That's it. They're also saying advancing Moore's Law on 14 nanometers. What a load of crap. This is not true at all. The 8th gen, if it's on 14 nanometers, 6th gen will still be a better buy. Honestly, when 8th gen comes out, maybe early next year, late this year, 6700K would still be compelling. I mean, it's going to be still pretty much the same performance for potentially $200. So Ryzen pricing with the same performance, it could be actually potentially a good buy. Although, I mean, you could argue that AMD is still the better buy out of principle and future-proofing, seeing as it is still an older generation and stuff like that. But 14 nanometers, they're saying 15%. Already, that was a lie. It's got a couple percent, and that's entirely due to clock speed. So if you overclock 6th gen, boom, same thing. It's just slightly faster, slightly higher clock speeds out of the box. 8th gen is going to be the same thing. They will not, I repeat, will not have any noticeable improvement. Because they said it's the same macro, not really macro, but same large-scale architecture. So they're going to be based on the Lake thing. And it's still going to be 14 nanometers. It's going to be another optimization. So, I guess history lesson with Intel, TikTok. They used to have a TikTok cycle. Process architecture. So first time, they'd shrink the process node down, so like 28 to 16 nanometer, for example. I mean, they didn't do exactly that. And then next one would be a new architecture on the same node size. And then smaller node, new, whatchamacallit, architecture, yeah. Then they announced that they're quitting that and they're going to go towards POW, Process Architecture Optimization. So process, architecture, and optimization. Kaby Lake It was the first one of these optimizations. And then now, instead of being a process, it's gonna be power with another optimization. Hey, someone. Ooh, people are in Twitch chat, so let's see what Twitch chat is up to. Oh, okay. That person is strange. Ikas, my friend. Chat rules, I don't remember what those are. I don't think streaming is the best for this. Yeah, I realized, but whatever. Anyways, back to this. If we get more involvement, then I might check. Yeah, they're rumoring for Coffee Lake. I'm not gonna get into that. Coffee Lake's gonna be a disappointment. The KB Lake X is gonna be just X. That's why they're going with X. This is still gonna be a disappointment. This is real. X299 is really where Intel. This is Intel's chance. This is where they could potentially shine. So that's it for Intel. So what have we covered so far? We've covered AMD, Intel, NVIDIA. They just announced the MX150, which is going to be, you know, their incremental version of the 940MX. So this would be for people who just want a dedicated GPU, but they don't want to do any real gaming. So things like content creation benefits a lot from just having a dedicated GPU. And I'm not sure if APUs are treated the same way. Just don't quote me on that. I think they are. But anyways, this would be just for people who don't really need much GPU performance. It's probably not going to offer a substantial increase over an iGPU, and even like Vega and mobile APUs is going to be better than this. But it's just for content creators really who need to have something that they can offload their tasks to and increase performance greatly. So that's what this is going to be. But the real deal here, I'm going to switch back to my camera. I don't think we're going to see much from NVIDIA here at Computex this year. I mean, they just announced Volta, or kind of teased Volta. They had the Tesla V100, which is their like top of the line card. Volta's, we're not going to see it until earlier next year, maybe by the end of this year, but I wouldn't bet on it. The actual GTX 11 series in our desktops, I'm going to say early next year. Maybe CES is when we can start seeing some of that, but I think they'll have their own dedicated thing in February and March. Here, really, they're going to, at Computex, they're going to focus on machine learning and stuff, so AI. So we actually saw a lot of that at CES, especially with their self-driving technology. That's where a lot of their AI was focused at CES. AI is going to be a big deal. I mean, it was at Google I/O. NVIDIA, AI is going to be a big deal at Computex. They're not really going to have much in terms of consumer graphics cards. It's just going to be continuing showing off things that they've already announced at CES, like the HDR G-Sync, the new Game Now stream thing where you can actually game on a Mac, the new Shield, just things like that. I don't think we're really going to see anything new from NVIDIA. Different manufacturers now. I'm almost done with the stream. I'm kind of just getting into the little things from each manufacturer because I think Intel and AMD were really the big ones. Companies like Asus, MSI, they're going to be releasing some new laptops, obviously, that have Pascal, some with the new MX150 from NVIDIA. Ryzen laptops is also I think we're going to see more of those, at least. The Asus one is almost a guarantee now. HP one, if that is Ryzen, I think we'll see that here at Computex. We might see some more. It's unclear. The big thing we're going to see from them is from all these manufacturers, Asus, MSI, Gigabyte, these going to be motherboards and graphics cards. So graphics cards, we're going to see more 1080 Ti's, and then Vega. Potentially. Vega will be announced. We will have details about the different models of Vega at Computex. We know that. But we also know they won't be released there, so we won't be able to buy it quite yet. That'll be later in June. We could see aftermarket designs for Vega cards at Computex. The only reason we wouldn't see them is if, again, it's releasing later, so we might not see them until later when it actually releases. We might see those, but we'll definitely see more 1080 Ti's. And then motherboards. Threadripper motherboards, more AM4 motherboards and things, MITx boards, and then the new X299 boards. Really, and then obviously just refreshes of like Z270. Yeah, so Z270, AM4, X390, and some ITX boards. That's really what we're going to see. That and laptops is really what we're going to see from those guys. Other than that, not much. I really think the big show at Computex is going to be Intel and AMD with X299, and AMD especially has a lot going on. Actually, Wednesday is when I can talk about that on the stream on Wednesday. They're going to have Ryzen Mobile, Ryzen 3, Ryzen APUs, Vega, Threadripper. They've got a lot going on that's all supposedly going, that we're all going to hear more about here at Computex. Maybe more about even Epic, their server platform. What I'm really, really banging on at Computex is Threadripper, Vega, and mobile. Ryzen 3 and Ryzen APUs might be just silent, just releases later on in the summer. But things we definitely need more information on is going to be Vega, laptops, and Threadripper. And I think, based on rumors and my guesses, I think we're going to see that here at Computex. So, okay, let's see what this article says. See, is anyone on any of the chats? See, there's no one on YouTube chat. How many check how many people are watching? I have one viewer on YouTube, but no chat. If you guys have anything to say, now's the time to like say things on chat. One person's watching on Twitch, that might just be me. Actually, I might be the one watching on both. But yeah, I mean, YouTube, this is still just going to stay up after the fact. Leave a comment down below. Tell me what you think of all this. What do you think is going to happen? Just let me know in the comments below. I am going to try to be back Tuesday afternoon, potentially with Stuart. Maybe over Skype, but maybe in person, we'll have to see. And then we can talk about what's been announced Tuesday, and then again Wednesday and Thursday. Those, if he participates, will definitely be over Skype. Talking Wednesday's gonna be the big one. I think is gonna be mostly devoted to AMD because of all these things that they're supposed to be announcing. And yeah, and then I'm gonna share a bit of my. Once I find out more about Ryzen laptops, I'm definitely gonna want to maybe make a full video about that and my plan for that. But yeah, that's it for this stream. A strange moment I say that's it for this video. See you guys in the next one. But no, this is the first stream. I hope it went well. I think it went well. Don't forget to leave a like if you liked it. And yeah, that's it for this stream. I will see you guys on Tuesday.